Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Anne Nwawadu. On the program today, we'll take a look at the extent of devastation caused by flooding in Benue State as Minister of Environment visits affected areas. Resident doctors begin nationwide strike as they reject federal government's proposal. And the United Nations opens emergency hospital in Munagarage IDP camp following reported cases of cholera. We'll begin news across Nigeria today with the Minister of Environment, Ibrahim Jibrin, in Benue State. He is there to assess the devastation of flooding that has hit the state in the last 1 week. His visit comes after calls by the state government that the aftermath of the flooding and the humanitarian crisis it is causing is too much for the state to handle. A tour of the affected areas took the minister to the new Makurdi International Market, where displaced families are being housed temporarily. The state government is asking for a higher level of control measures to curb future flooding, which he says will require assistance from the Federal Ecological Unit. The victims may be relieved to see the federal government, but their appeal for help is also going to the state government and other donors that can help their situation. In an emotional appeal to Channels Television, some of them claim the flood has made them homeless and penniless. Many are currently camped at the new international market in the state capital.
5 days ago, this building, including the 2 cars belonging to Lady Katie Jogu, were deeply submerged in flood. Although the flood has receded, its devastating effect has left several properties destroyed.
I didn't have a place to sleep. We virtually slept outside one house out there, me and my family. But a good Samaritan saw me the following day and he was able to give me one room in her place. That's where I am pitching now. And I'm trying to pick up my pieces. I'm confused. I don't know whether to come back to this house now that the water has receded. I don't know what the forecast will be.
Many of the residents in Makurdi are now displaced as a result of the flood. They now seek shelter at the Makurdi International Market IDP camp. They're desperately seeking intervention to enable them return home.
We are totally inside the water. The house is down, everything is down, we are down, we need help from the government. We have major challenges of the drainage that the government is supposed to come to our aid.
Relief groups and the Nigerian Air Force have been on ground trying to provide medical and other humanitarian support to the disaster victims.
We have come to stay and assist the government of Benue State to provide some little bit of services.
The Benue State's governor has been relentless in the cry for federal government's ecological assistance.
There must be some level of control henceforth on how to do it. And of course, this is a massive project that will require the support and assistance of the federal government ecological unit.
The Benue State Emergency Management Agency claims to have supplied foodstuff to the relief camps. But with a huge number of flood victims at the camp, food supply is still inadequate.
Well, let's get more on what the state government is doing. Joining us right now on the program is the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Dr. Telum Osev. Thank you very much for joining us on News Across Nigeria.
Thank you, my sister.
All right, what's the extent of devastation at the moment in Makurdi?
There is in a very short few past, the agency, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, gave a warning that Benue State should be expecting flooding this year. So when the message came, the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, both took a proactive measure by education people that are living along the flood-prone areas that they should relocate. And he also went into mobilizing for the setting of drains. He also mobilized some contractors that were to go to site so that culverts should be built where they were abandoned. So those were the measures that he took. But the flood now came. 2 rains fast came, and what we are experiencing is something else. We are not actually expecting this magnitude of flooding again. We were expecting something lower than this. But when it comes, what we have seen is beyond what the state can be able to handle. Because if you come to Makurdi, which is the capital of Benue State, you can see many buildings collapsing because of the flooding. You see a lot of people being displaced from their homes because of this flooding. A lot of properties lost. But at the moment, we have not experienced any loss of life. So at the moment, this is the situation. And when this thing happens, NEMA came with the governor of Benue State, wrote letters to the president of the country, which he copied the Minister for Environment. He also copied NEMA office in Abuja. He copied the Committee on Flooding in Abuja. He also copied the Acting Secretary of the Federal Government. That this is the situation in Benue State. And this when this happened, the president now took some proactive measures by sending NEMA immediately to come to the aid of Benue citizens. So they came about 8 trucks of food items, medical items, and clothing have been sent to Benue to alleviate the suffering the people of Benue State are undergoing. Today, as we are speaking, the Minister for Environment is in Benue State, Makurdi, and he went around assessing the level of damage and flooding that they have experienced. So it's with us now.
Okay. Mr. Sev, let me use your words. You said that Benue State cannot handle this alone, meaning that you're seeking for help outside. But what is the government doing at the moment? The relief materials that's being brought, is it enough to handle these victims?
Yeah, they are not enough. The people, the NEMA, that the Director General came because we are trying to express the level of people that are displaced. But he now told us that the ones that they have delivered now is just for immediacy. By the time they do the assessment, as I'm talking to you now, the NEMA people are in the state, going around the state to assess the level of the displaced people. So from there, when they send a message or they report to Abuja, to their head office in Abuja, then that is when they can give a exact or the quantity or number of relief materials that will be able to go to cater for the people that are displaced in Benue.
Talking about the people that are displaced, are there any plans to prevent a humanitarian crisis at the temporary shelters where those people are?
Yeah, the state government has tried so much. The relief materials that are submitted are not enough to cater for all the areas. State government took proactive measures by providing the 2 camps for the displaced people in Makurdi at the moment, and some materials are being given to them before the arrival of the NEMA materials. As we talk now, the state government is trying to see meager resources to try to see how the water that are flooding will escape by getting some drains that will escape this water, that will allow easy flow of this water to move. But we have a lot of, Benue is in a valley, in a lower valley. So this, and it's a river, we have a river that needs dredging, that has not been dredged. So our soil gets saturated with water because of the moisture content of it. So when this happens, as rain falls now, the soil can no longer absorb the water. So because of this, the water gets flooding. So what I mean by the state government alone cannot handle this is that we are calling on the federal government, we are calling on the United Nations, we are calling on good-spirited individuals to come to the help of Benue State, to the aid of Benue State, so that drains, if adequate drains are being provided, this can help.
All right, Mr. Usef, thank you very much. I'm sure they have heard you, and help will definitely come to Benue State. And when News Across Nigeria returns, we'll still be talking on the Benue flooding. Please stay with us.